NHL season-long props. Man, that feels good to say. We are back, guys. We are back, and it's time to get back into the NHL content. Look, NFL, college football, that stuff is great. I get excited about it, but anybody that knows me, anybody following me on any social media, you guys know that hockey is the sport that I love. Hockey is the sport that I follow the closest, and it's a sport that I'm going to want to talk about the most. So we are here, and we're going to do a lot of streams at this exact time of 3 p.m. Eastern, just going over different topics, whether it be NHL player props, whether it be sides, whether it be totals, whether it be a Tuesday afternoon, and we're talking about a 13-game slate. Whatever it may be, 3 p.m. Eastern for now is the time that we are going to roll with, the time that we are going to allocate to the live streams. So what I've decided to do is record some videos overnight. So we'll have some videos recorded. We'll have some in the morning posted and uploaded to this YouTube channel at McGinnis Picks. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter as well. And then we're going to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern, taking questions, going over player props, and kind of just updating on what the lines are for the games, player information, goaltender information, and all that good stuff. So I appreciate everybody that joins me here today. I'm extremely excited to be back talking hockey. I kind of waited. I kind of wondered, like, how early can I do this? How early can I start talking hockey before it's too early? And a lot of people are doing previews now. And so the topic of this video is NHL season-long player props. And guys, I'll make it very clear. No, I did not go through every single forward and defenseman and some of their under-overs for points and goals. But I got a handful of plays to give out. We're going to keep a lot of these streams short to start things out. We're going to try and grow the following, and consistency is the biggest key. So during the weekdays especially, you guys will see me right here at 3 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. We're going to also be live on Twitter every now and then to grow the following, but a lot of these streams are going to be on just YouTube, and especially the videos I upload will be just on YouTube. So appreciate everybody for watching this. If you are watching and you're interested in my season-long picks, including the preseason, which I'll be really involved in the preseason this year, the early bird special is available at wagertalk.com. So you can get all of those, my full season, at wtt.buzz/am. But let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's jump into some of the plays I had. And I know any of you guys that follow me, you're going to get a kick out of this, because the first player that I decided to go with, well, it's a Montreal Canadian, okay? It's a Montreal Canadian, and you have to bear with me here on this one. I know I'm a fan of the team, but I think a lot of people realized that Uri Slafkovsky is, not the bust that people were saying he was in the first year. In fact, he was a guy that was figuring out his size, that was figuring out the North American ice surface. And also, if we're being real, he wasn't really playing with the line mates he should have been playing with for a lot of the season. So once he got moved to play with Suzuki and Caulfield, things became a lot different for him. Things became better for him, and he just gained chemistry with those guys. And it seems like now they're going to be very, very cautious to remove him from that line because of the chemistry they've had. You can already see the chemistry between those players in training camp, in the scrimmages. People are talking about, on the team, that they wish they had chemistry with their potential lineups, like the Suzuki and Caulfield and Slafkovsky line. So going over some of these numbers here for Slafkovsky: 20 goals, 30 assists, 20-30. And a lot of those guys came in the second half of the season. He had a 9-game point streak, but an even more impressive, he had 20 points in 22 games, which, to me, you look at the Canadians ready to take a little bit of a different step, to step up. They acquired Patrick Laine. They got Alex Newhook healthy again after he was out for a decent amount last year. And, of course, Kirby Dach missed the majority of the year last year. So I really like this 57.5 number here, guys. And whether or not you're a believer the Canadians can take a step up this season, in a really, really competitive division. And I get that with teams around them like Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo expected to take another jump. And then, of course, you've got your Torontos, your Bostons, your Tampas, Floridas, these really incredible teams in that division. But with the amount of games that the Habs competed in and lost by 1 goal or lost in overtime, I just think it's kind of far-fetched for us to think that Slafkovsky's not going to be 8 points better than he was last season. There were still times last year that he played with Josh Anderson. He played with, some guys in the third and fourth line. They very quickly, don't get me wrong, November or December, they moved him up there to the first line, but 20 points in 22 games, guys. Imagine what he's going to do when he plays 82 games with the top line. The power play will be a lot better. Just imagine Lane Hudson being out there. Imagine Patrick Laine. I mean, he's got more shooters around him, and a lot of people might ask why I'm deciding to go the points direction versus the goals. And it's simple. I know he's a big body. He can create scoring opportunities, but what I like the most about a guy like that is he creates for people around him. He's not a selfish player. I wouldn't really say he's a pass-first guy, or I would say he's dominantly a goal scorer. I'd say he's a little bit of both. He doesn't really have some type of specific knack to his game. I think he can be both. And so I think the safer option with that play would be to go with the point prop. So Juraj Slafkovsky, I got to kick things off, guys, with a player on my team. And when I say my team, my team, the Montreal Canadiens. So over 57.5, I thought was a pretty good bet to look at. All right. Thanks for everybody being here live with me. I appreciate it. But also, guys, if you're watching afterwards, you can retweet on X, or you can subscribe and like the YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that. I got a goal that I set. I want to reach 500 YouTube subscribers. I want to do that potentially by the new year. And I know I'm setting a really, really big goal for myself with that, but we'll see if we can do that. We're at I think 155 right now. I would love to be able to get a bunch of subscribers and grow the YouTube channel. It would really, really, really help me out. All right. Let's go to the next guy that we had to look at. And it is a player prop on a guy on the Colorado Avalanche. We are going to rock with Jonathan Drouin over on his point prop, 56.5, guys, 19 goals, 56 points overall, and 19 points on the man advantage. He's a power play guy. He's a great passer. He's someone that fits right in with the Avalanche. And when he played for Montreal, there was so much pressure on him. There was a lack of goal scoring. There was a lack of that flair. So when he was on that team, he was projected to be that guy. And I'm not saying there's not pressure on him to produce now, but what I am saying is when you've got Mikko Rantanen on one side of you and you've got Nathan MacKinnon on the other side of you, well, it takes a little bit of pressure off you when you're probably, the fourth or fifth guy and, third, fourth option, I should say, on that team versus when he was on the Canadiens, he was looked for to produce quite a bit. When we look at this Colorado Avalanche team, taking a look at the line combos for them overall, you got Drouin, McKinnon, Rantanen projected to be top line. Miles Wood, Casey Middlestat, Kovalenko on the second line, Ross Colton, Logan O'Connor on that third line. To me, this is a team that is going to have a very clear-cut top six is out there for goal scoring. The bottom six is out there to create pressure, to kind of cause havoc, to be physical, to trap their opponent in the offensive zone there and in their own end. And I think that it's a clear-cut advantage to have shooters on one side and on the other side for Jonathan Drouin. Guys, when we take a look at this number that we're seeing for Jonathan Drouin at 56.5 points, it's pretty much asking him to get one more point than he got last season. And I think that his comfortability level, his confidence is going to be even higher than it was last season. When I look at Jonathan Drouin and what he's able to do, the passing, even his goal scoring ability, but also the power play. When you're going to get a guy at 56.5 points, guys, that's on the power play every single night, you've got Cale Makar, you've got Mikko Rantanen, you've got McKinnon, you've got Val Nichushkin coming back, you've got Casey Middlestat, you've got guys that can score. So for Jonathan Drouin to create points, he doesn't have to put the puck in the net himself. He's definitely an assist guy. He can score, don't get me wrong, but he's definitely someone that I want to look at a lot for player points. And I'll tell you what, guys, it happens a lot for a lot of different teams, and we're looking at the player point category. You've got one guy that will be, minus 190 to get one singular point. The guy next to him is, plus 120 over 1.5 points. And you got a guy like Drouin that is minus 125 just to get on the stat sheet. So you're going to give me on a night in, night out basis, like a minus 125, 130 prop on Jonathan Drouin to get a point when he's playing on the same team as the MVP, Nathan McKinnon, as Rantanen, at playing on the same power play as Cale Makar. And you're going to give me these really good odds on a night in, night out basis. So because of that, I think that he builds on last season. I don't think he gets worse after last year. I think he only gets better. So Jonathan Drouin, guys, over 56.5, I think is a really, really good bet to look at for a season-long prop. And who doesn't like watching Avalanche games, guys? I think we all enjoy watching the skilled hockey, the skilled style of hockey that they play. So if you want a season-long prop bet to cheer for, at a really buy low number, I would say, would be Jonathan Drouin over 56.5 points. All right. Again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in live here to the live stream. I appreciate it. We're going to be live every single weekday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, right here. Going to have guests. Going to be solo, going to have some interviews maybe potentially lined up for some live streams. We're going to have some videos that are just videos uploaded to YouTube. And then there will be the late afternoon, 3 p.m. time slot where we just hang out, sip on whatever the hell this is, iced coffee, and, just go over some of the games. I'm pumped. The preseason gets kicked off this weekend. Really looking forward to it. And guys, again, if you're interested in 1 month to kick off with my NHL best bets, you can head over to Wager Talk and grab that, or the early bird special is available right now at wt.buzz/am. But really, if you guys don't buy plays, it's all good. If you're not interested in all my favorite plays, it's all good. Just do me a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. Just support the socials. I'd really appreciate that. So let's get into another guy here. And before I get anybody saying he's only taking overs, yeah, right now all I have is overs. So I'll beat you guys to the punchline. We got a lot of overs here as far as these player prop numbers. All right. We got to shout out Alex Hart. Shout out to Alex Hart on X. Alex is a great follow, huge sports fan. He wanted to know about Adrian Kempe from the LA Kings. Kempe coming off a really, really strong season. We're going to take a look at his number, though, and I got to say, I'm going to go under 74.5 for Adrian Kempe. He's coming off a career season. 75 points for him, 28 goals, 47 assists in 77 games. So they notched him down 1 point from what he was able to achieve and what he was able to reach last season. And here's the thing with the LA Kings, guys. I expect low-scoring games, defensive battles. I expect a lot of neutral zone time between them and their opponent. I expect them to make things difficult for their opponent by them sitting back a little bit. So first and foremost, I don't really want to run to the window to play an over on a player when I expect his team to be involved in a lot of unders and lower scoring games. Number two, I just realized, I think I said I'm going to have all overs and I gave you guys an under. So here's an under. We got one under and a bunch of overs for the rest of the way here. But under for Adrian Kempe on his points, guys. The second reason is because the LA Kings really distribute the ice time further forward pairings. You know, some teams, they've got a clear-cut fourth line, they've got a clear-cut first and second line, and you kind of really see the third and fourth line fizzle out their ice time towards the end of a game when you really need a goal and stuff like that. I think it's really different for the LA Kings. You've got Kempe, Laferriere, and Kopitar line 1, Fiala, Byfield, Fogle line 2, Moore, Deneau, Thomas, Jeannot, Turcotte, and Lewis on the fourth line. The point being here is that this team is very spread out. They've got a ton of options. They like to utilize all four lines. And when you've got a team like that, I think you need to be really careful with taking player props to the over, especially with numbers like this, and especially with a guy coming off a career year, because you don't know if they're going to get enough ice time to reach that. You know, if the third line starts playing well and they're getting a little bit more of the, ice time, and they're sharing some time that maybe the first line would have had, or second line's getting more time, or the power play split is a little bit larger between the first unit and the second unit, then it kind of causes problems. So for that reason, I'm not saying I'm out on Kempe by any means. I'm just saying I'm taking the under on his point total. So shout out to Alex Hart for that question. I definitely appreciate that. If you guys are watching live right now, feel free to comment any players to go over. But we're going to have a bunch of videos like this. I'm going to have some season point total under-overs to look at. Some teams I'm going to be looking at as the worst team in the NHL. We're going to look at teams to win the division, to win their conference, so on and so forth. And we'll discuss some Stanley Cup futures as well. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern, guys, every single weekday. Unless I mention on socials we're going at a different time, every single day will be 3 p.m. Eastern. Videos uploaded will be YouTube only, but some of these live videos will be on X and will be on YouTube as well. Shout out to Ice X with me saying the Islanders are the worst team. Yeah, the Islanders drive me crazy, as I'm sure you probably know that. The Islanders, they bother me. They bother me, but they find ways to win games that you don't think they're going to be able to win. They're still a boring brand of hockey. They refuse to spend money, refuse to have splashes in free agency. But let's not kid ourselves. They will not be the worst team. Come on, Ice X. They're not going to be the worst team. Definitely going to be a team in the West. Definitely going to be a team in the West. I'll say that. I think the East is relatively competitive. Like, there's going to be a lot of teams that could play shocker, could surprise some teams, and put on some good performances. But that's for a different video. Let's get into another one that we had. All right, we got a shout out to Brian Walls. Brian Walls. Brian wanted to know about Kirill Kaprizov. Where's Terry Edelman when we need him? Shout out to Terry. I was on his show to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and the season that I think they're about to have. But Brian wanted to talk about Kirill Kaprizov, and Kaprizov is just a really fun player to watch. He played 55 games in the 2020 season, had 27 goals. He played 81 games in 2021, had 47 goals. In 2022, he played 67 games, 40 goals. In 2023, 75 games, 46 goals. To me, guys, the best way to look at Kaprizov is looking at the over for his goals. That's what I isolated. Usually I'm a points guy. Like, overall, I'm someone that kind of wants to look at points, because I know a lot of the times, like, you're going to have guys rack up some assists, have a couple games in a row where they get assists, and you're kind of wishing to yourself that you just jumped on the point prop for the season long, and instead of just taking the goals. So, and I understand, guys, there might only be one or two I mention, or a couple that we go over these videos that I do, that you want to tie up your money. A lot of people don't want to tie up their money for these futures. The way I look at it is, if you're going to be watching, hockey every day. If you're a diehard hockey fan, you're kind of just like cheering on a season-long bet. So instead of taking Kaprizov anytime goal scorer in one game, you're taking him over 46.5 goals on the entire season. That's the way I want to look. He's dealt with some injury problems. There's been some different stuff going on, but overall, I think their team has gotten better. I think he's gotten better over time, whether it's been his points, whether it's been his transition game, whether it's been contributions on the power play. He's an animal. His wrist shot is unbelievable. His ability to score off the one-timer is great. So top line, projection, Kaprizov, Hartman, Zuccarello. I know a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but I think one problem that they have is depth. I take a look at their team and I think that, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to produce. And I think that if you're someone that likes to bet player props, you should probably have no problem looking to bet on him to score a goal or to go over shots on goal. He's going to have the green light, as they say in basketball. He's going to have the green light to shoot the puck. I wouldn't be shocked to see him with 5, 6, 7 shot attempts on goal in some games because they need a goal. They're down. They need someone to produce and someone to score. So over 46.5 goals might sound crazy for some players, but for Kaprizov, I think it's certainly attainable. What's up? We got Aaron here. Kaprizov, good for first goal money. Yeah, I mean, hey, like I said, they're lacking depth, so I think that he's going to be someone that's going to score a ton of goals for them, especially if he gets off to a good start. But I will say a lot of this is kind of banking on the Wild having a so-so season, a so-so season. And I think they're going to need him to be the guy for them. It's pretty much the opposite of why I took Adrian Kempe under on his points, guys, because I think that when you look at a guy like Kaprizov, he's going to have to backpack this team. There's going to be times where he's going to have to be the guy for the Minnesota Wild. Not that he's not already the guy for them, but he's going to have the green light to shoot the puck a ton. All right, let's get to another one I had circled here. We're going to go to a player that is on a new team this year. A player on a team that has high expectations. A player on a team that fared pretty well last year in the regular season, towards the end especially, and in the early parts of the playoffs. That player is former Boston Bruin, Jake DeBrusk. I'm going to go over on points for Jake DeBrusk, over 48.5 points. According to dailyfaceoff.com, they have him projected to play with Elias Pettersson and Daniel Sprong. Number one, I think Jake DeBrusk is completely underrated. I think he plays the game the right way. He can score you a nice goal. He can score you a dirty goal. I think on the Bruins, he just got kind of buried behind Marchand, behind Pasternak, behind Coyle, behind a lot of these guys, behind Bergeron when Bergeron was there, of course. But I just don't think he ever really got enough credit in Boston. He wanted out last year. They don't help him out. They don't move him. He does well in the playoffs last year in their first round against the Leafs, creating chances. He's a guy that you want. He's a guy you want on your team. Of course, he has the connection with Vancouver, so that'll bring something. But this number to me, for a guy playing on the second line, playing next to two shooters like Sprong and Pettersson, to give me 48.5, I think that's a really good number to look at. The projected power play unit, he's projected to be out there on the second unit with Hoglander, Suter, DeBrusk, Sprong, and Roenick. So I think he'll be able to create a lot of shots and a lot of chances. Ice X already saying, I miss DeBrusk. Yeah, I think he was underrated there. I think he was a guy that maybe wasn't appreciated enough in Boston, and we're going to see what he can do when he gets to a new team now. So we're going to take a look at DeBrusk over on his number, over 48.5. So we got a bunch to recap here. We've got Slavkovsky over 57.5. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The guy that had 20 and 30 last year for like a month and a half, wasn't even playing on the top line. The team got better. 20 points in 22 games for Slavkovsky. 9-game point streak. You're going to ask me to bet on him to only get 8 points more than he had last season? That's a joke. That is a joke. That is one of my favorite plays. I don't care if I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. I don't care if you guys think I'm being a homer. I think that Slavkovsky is set for a good season. We have got Jonathan Drouin over 56.5 points. We've got Adrian Kempe under 74.5 points. Shout out to Alex for asking to bring him up. We've got Kaprizov, the goal prop, over 46.5 goals. We've got Jake DeBrusk over 48.5 points on the Vancouver Canucks. All right, that's it for the first stream here, guys. We're going to jump into a bunch more players. Next week, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to select a handful more players to look at for season-long props. We're going to talk about some previews for certain teams. We're going to talk futures. And then when the season kicks off, you guys can expect me here, 3 p.m. Eastern every weekday, breaking down the games, giving out some picks, and especially talking props. If you're watching this on YouTube, guys, please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. Hit the like button on this. And if you're watching on X, all I ask for is a retweet or a follow. You can really help me out. For any of you guys interested in all of my picks at Wager Talk, my best bets, you can use wt.buzz/am as the short link to get my early bird special. If you want my plays for the first month of the season, DM me. I'll set you up with that. We'll get you a really good discount on that, and you guys can rock with me with all my favorite plays. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time on the McGinnis Picks Show. All the best. We'll see you next time.